How do you take a dream, a purpose, a mission, and build a business around it when the ways that you can learn how to do that aren't in the normal education systems? We're going to tell you how to do that, and you can use this to navigate your way through global pandemics, recessions, depressions, you name it. This is what you got to know. Pay attention.
If I were an educator and I wanted to change the entire educational system of America, which I will, one of the things I would focus on is teaching people how to learn, helping everyone, essentially learn how to learn. Because that is true knowledge. That's application. That's being able to take something and go with it and continually, perpetually do it without me or without anyone else, but individually having that strength.
Genius.
When was a moment in time where you didn't want to do that, but you did it anyway? You begin to learn how to learn.
Oh, man. I actually think I've known how to do this from a pretty young age. So I was homeschooled, one of 6 kids. And when you're homeschooled, you know, your mom teaches you, but there's only so much time because everybody's at a different grade level. And so you do learn how to learn. So you teach yourself. So the biggest difference in homeschooling is instead of a teacher up on the front teaching the lesson, then you go home and do the homework, you just read the book and do the homework yourself. So the whole point is teaching yourself how to figure it out. And then when I did go to high school, most of my teachers hated me because the biggest difference between my mom and them was when I said, so like, where do I apply this in life? Like, how can I use this? Would it be if I became an astronaut or an engineer or a doctor? Where does this thing we're learning apply? And they're like, just learn it for the test. I'm like, well, that seems like an extraordinary waste of time. And I'm like, this is so weird. You're using up so many hours of my life to just learn something for the test. And I always really resented that. So I appreciate my mom. I appreciate all the explaining she did and all the ridiculous questions that she was mostly patient for. Very patient for.
Yeah.
But I took that whole being self-taughtness and whatever I want to learn, I'll just go figure out how to learn it into the rest of my life. As you know, I don't have a formal college education. I've spent over $600,000 on my education finding where to learn what I need to know. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts, which is exactly what you're talking about. How can others learn how to learn?
That's the best way to go from broke to woke. You're going to have to learn essentially how to do it, which is amazingly easy in essence, right? Number one, it's realizing that the information's there. So you remove that scarcity from your brain because it's there, right? You can figure it out. It's readily available. Number two, it's probably free. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
You can probably sit down on Google and go, how to insert whatever.
I know.
And
it's crazy.
Poof. I forget exactly the term you used at a previous episode, but it was amazing because you're like, something, just Google magic, whatever. You can do it, right? The Google box is there for you to just learn.
Well, it's such a beautiful time to be alive. You know, this is the first time in history we can find information as easily and as readily as we can now. I mean, even a decade ago, the internet wasn't what it is now. I mean, YouTube wasn't what it is now. And the amount of content and free content and resources that are available to mankind, especially Americans, is just no excuses.
Right.
No excuses, no matter where you were born,
right,
how you were raised. If you have a picture of what you want to become, you can find the information on how to get there online.
Agreed.
It's just going to keep getting better.
Agreed.
Which, you know, I don't think that it's making colleges super pumped that there's all these other opportunities, but I want to clarify, I'm very pro-education.
Absolutely.
Extremely.
Of course.
It's so annoying that I couldn't find somewhere to learn like the easy parameters of just going to a school and all right, this is the course. I couldn't find that online.
Right.
So therefore, you and I are creating our own university, I heard.
Is it broke to woke? Is it a school?
G-Force University, broke to woke school. You guys get to find out.
We'll figure it out.
Soon.
But we're doing it.
What are we going to talk about?
Everything they don't teach in schools.
Yeah.
You know, like when you sit down and you ask someone, what's some things they don't teach in college or high school that they should? And they name a bunch of things. Those are things we're going to teach.
What to do with the money you make and how to make it make money for you.
Yeah.
The fastest path to becoming a multimillionaire and being a force for good. How many works? The things.
Yes, all the things.
All the things.
We're going to be teaching that. In fact, that's actually some of the titles for some of the upcoming episodes in Broke to Awoke Season 2. And we're going to do a beautiful glossing over. But it is audio or visual on YouTube. But in general, some people probably want some hand-holding and
a little deeper.
And some fast tracks.
Yeah.
What's a great way to fast track a way of learning?
A great way to fast track a way of learning alternate to college.
Yeah, or alternate to you doing it by yourself in front of YouTube, free resources, reading books. What's a way to speed that up?
Get a coach. So that's what I've done. I've always hunted down the people who are where I want to be. And many times they weren't professional coaches. So it doesn't have to be somebody who is a professional coach. Again, I just started professionally coaching like 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Not that I couldn't have before. I didn't want to. You know, I didn't have time to. And
Yeah.
so you can hunt people down who are where you want to be in that specific area. My real estate coach is not my relationship coach. My relationship coach is not my spiritual coach. My spiritual coach is not my fitness coach. And so all the areas that I needed extra hand-holding in and I wanted to go there so fast, I would get a coach. Now, I'm self-taught in a lot of different things, but when you want that massive amount of acceleration, you go hunt down the people you want to be like.
Tell me one. Tell me a story.
Oh my god.
Coaching story.
When I was living in my car,
back to the Mustang.
I knew that I couldn't absorb books fast enough. I didn't know anyone, and everybody I loved was rejecting me. So I did find a coach that I met on the day that I got fired for the reason I moved to Nashville. The day I got let go and had to move into my car, I met this guy. And he was a professional coach, and he was $2,500 a month. I found a way to create that much money. And even though I was living in my car, I still paid a coach. Now, having somebody he wasn't even a real estate coach. He was just really like a mindset coach.
Yeah.
But having somebody who, when I would list all my problems and tell him I can't make more than this amount of money per month, it can't be done, no matter how hard I try. And his answer was, if you believe that, then it is true. Which pissed me off.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I'm like, no, I'm really trying. You don't know. Okay. If you believe it, so it will be.
Yeah.
But having someone in my life to challenge my limiting thoughts, to tell me how to go to the next level, even just getting rid of all that spiral of negativity that I was carrying around with me from constant failure, that was the thing that got me out of my car.
Killer. And when you're in that moment, can you kind of outline for us, like, how did you find this person and how'd you pay for it?
Yeah, I found this person at that event. My boss at the time was hosting a real estate, how to get rich overnight, essentially, event. And it was actually my boss's coach. And he came out after the event. He's like, I feel really bad because I'm the reason you got fired. I told him to fire you because I'm trying to streamline his business, blah, blah, blah. And because of that, I'm normally, $5,000 a month. I'm going to charge you $2,500. And I'm like, I have no money.
Yeah. So when you're in that moment, you have no money. There's panic. There's fear. How do you afford it? What did you do?
I don't tell other people to do this, but I did it. And I'm, again, not telling anyone else to ever go upside down or anything like that. But I was working for those two rehabbers.
Yep, absolutely.
And I would fill up their rentals. I personally fix them up and clean all the gross hairs and roaches off the floor and avoid the gunshots outside the doors. And because I filled up their rental portfolio, I got these small commissions. And it was enough to eat off of and pay my bills.
Yeah.
And, still living off of credit cards a little bit for the most part, but also pay for this coach.
Wow.
And I just worked 18 or 21 hours a day.
Yeah.
So again, I never recommend people go under in the pursuit of that. But for me, I paid attention.
Yeah.
I listened to those coaching calls. Guess what? They were recorded. And I listened to them probably 50 times because I was getting my freaking money's worth.
Yes.
I took notes. I wasn't late. I was 1 minute late one time and he canceled the call. People who are worthy of being your coach, you better respect.
Right. Right. And that's an amazing, amazing story. Because I'm just imagining, trying to imagine myself in that position, just going, would I pay that? I mean, knowing that that's my answer, and I hope the answer would be yes, right? I know it would be for me, but for a lot of people, you're right. Don't necessarily recommend that as a way if it's going to put you upside down, but in essence, you're going to have opportunities to understand how to learn. And my takeaways from that is you showed up early, you took notes, you listened to the recordings over and over and over. You were there, and even in moments of fear, panic, uncertainty, you said, I'm going to invest in myself. Now, you might not have said that out loud. That's in essence what happened. And when you're doing that, you're learning how to learn because you have these beliefs. If he wasn't there to help you slightly shift those beliefs, then it might not have happened. You might have carried those beliefs for another year or two.
I would have quit. I would have gotten out of real estate.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Wow.
I promise you.
Really?
Yeah. I would have gotten out of real estate because I was too scared and too many things didn't work. The biggest thing you didn't say on that list, though, is I did what he said.
Okay.
I took action.
Okay.
I didn't just hear it. I did the work.
Yep.
So a lot of people, and you guys are not them, go to conference after conference, read book after book, and they're in the same place.
Yeah.
10 years later. I pretty much could never afford all the stuff I was paying for.
Right.
So I made sure I did the work. I didn't go home and go to the party and hang out with all my buddies and la 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 la. I went home and I applied. I started, making the calls, like finding the projects, finding the vendors, organizing the contractors, making sure the stuff was there on time, making sure that house sold. And it was the most marketed thing I could possibly ever do in my life. Like I went to the showings. I took notes on their comments. I had applied them. I reapplied them. I just kept adjusting. That's a lot of things people don't do is with every piece of feedback, I'd adjust until we got it right.
Yeah.
That's how you sell a house in 2009. And every single house around you is a foreclosure. So it's paying attention, being teachable, being moldable by the right people.
Totally. And my friends, if you want to go back and just listen to that, re-listen to all those things that she was doing, because when you talk about taking action, a lot of people are like, okay, cool, taking action. What is that? What does it look like? What action should I be taking? Well, a coach generally, at least I do, is provide some type of homework, some type of actionable steps that I can measure, track, and follow, something that I can determine, did you do this or not, a progress report, if you will, like these things need to be completed and did you do them or not? That's that action. Making a phone call, saying these particular things, using this line, determining this evaluation, this metric, whatever it might be. Those are the action steps, and we've been talking about it for a while. They're really tiny. You said the word adjust 4 times, 3 or 4 times, meaning that adjustment is something that's constant. It's a tiny boop, tweak here, tiny thing there. When you're going to these showings, you're writing down notes with your hand and pen and paper.
All in.
Right. You're all in. You're all there in. Probably on a Saturday or Sunday, most likely.
Oh, always.
I'm guessing.
Guess where else I've applied that same formula that you just went through?
In every facet of your business ever?
Yes. But guess what it's helped me go through?
All the things.
COVID-19. All these people curling up in a ball, crying in a corner. I can't. I can't. Well, guess what? Opportunity never goes away. It only switches places.
Right.
So where is it going? And how can we adjust, not pivot? Ugh, it's so annoying now, but the same thing. How can we adjust to be in the way of opportunity?
Yeah.
Therefore, we catch it. Can you make money when the stock market's going down?
Yeah.
Really?
You can.
What? Can you make money when the stock market's going up?
Yep, definitely. Easy. That's really easy.
So you can make it when it's going up and down?
You can actually do it when it goes sideways as well.
Sideways?
Yeah.
Circles, spins,
That's
candles,
right.
The works, all the things.
All of it.
How do you make money on both of those?
Well, exactly. Applied knowledge, very specific strategies, right? Taking the ability and the time to go, wait a minute, there's some buttons, there's some tactical buttons, because at some point in your life, and I tell people this all the time, You can have all the knowledge, like, okay, you now, if you're listening to this, have the knowledge that you can make money when the stock goes down. That is something that you can do. But there are tactical buttons that you have to press. So that's that application, right? You have the knowledge and then you go, wait a minute, I should actually learn this and start doing these and taking the steps required and necessary. That's the learning to learn. The learning to learn involves practical, immediate application. Or you start doing it soon, now-ish, right? More or less quickly.
Yeah.
And when you start doing that, again, you're going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be these weird growth pains. There's going to be things that you don't know. You're going to be faking it most likely, right? You're going to be answering questions that you're not really sure of the answer to. But you're going to give an answer and then you're going to get that feedback from that person like, oh, I thought it was this. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. You know what? I actually don't know for sure. Let me research it and find out and I will get back to you. And the difference between someone who wins and loses is that person who gets back to you. So yeah, all of these applications, right?
Love it. Those
tiny, tiny shifts are immense.
What I love about you, I mean, there's like a million things, but I love how self-taught you are. So your story, if you guys hear from Broke to Woke season 1, it's like this grueling, gut-churning, painful series of this guy who is like so brave, who just keeps getting up and going for it and somehow convincing people of lending you money, you know, back when you were starting out and you freaking lost it.
Yeah.
And then you went back in history and studied what? And what did that do for you?
That is a great question. And I think we should cover that in the next episode.
If you are loving learning about how to get a financial education and want to take your education to the next level, go to broketowoke.com and join Real Life Trading to get free education on how to become a baller in the stock market.